Which is interesting because one of the things that is top of mind for people right now is, you know, changing those work days or those non-instruction days into and replacing them for the whole furlough issue, you know, and saying that we're going to take these non-instructional days and make up for the lost instruction days. So in that situation, I would guess that you're supportive of the professional days. Correct?
It's essential.
Okay.
But they have to be used well. And I know there are schools that don't use them well and that just let teachers do their own thing or whatever. And I think if we understand this is a learning community, and as the principal, I'm the head learner, and everybody in this organization is a learner, including the parents and the students. But there's such strong research right now that shows the direct correlation between the learning of the teachers and the learning of the students. And so the professional development of teachers is critical. And it's not going to a conference or having a one-day presentation, sit and get. It's teachers talking to each other and dialoguing. When we implemented thinking maps, we recognized that in secondary school, if kids can't read, and if they're having difficulty in math because of the higher level thinking and analytical thinking, we need to teach kids purposefully how to think. Parents and teachers will tell kids, think, stop and think, you know, but they don't teach them how to think. And so we found a way to teach kids a system for thinking. And now you're thinking chronologically, or now you're thinking categorically, you're categorizing things. And this is shown, I mean, kids in fourth grade, first grade, kindergarten can do this. But when we started teaching kids thinking, it was a new way of teaching for teachers. And so I had to structure my meeting time, not lecturing at them, but giving them time to bring student work, share it with each other, talk in their content area, science teachers together. How are you using these thinking maps? How are you getting kids to a higher level thinking? And then across content, what are you doing in language arts, and what am I doing in social studies? So that time where teachers, structured time where they have time to dialogue and share, bumps up the learning curve for everybody. So you cannot eliminate staff learning time and think that we're going to improve as a system.
I found that I really like what you're saying, and you know, that's a very positive way moving forward in trying to get, you know, our teachers to you know, basically be ongoing learners, you know. And it was really interesting as a parent. I have an experience where, you know, when I went to my school in Makaha Elementary, and we had parent, you know, teacher conferences and stuff, and then I went to my child's school where we do student-led conferences. And I remember after the first one going, okay, what's next, you know, because I didn't get it. And I didn't, so it was a learning process for me as a parent as well. And now I think it's so much better for me to be on, you know, on the same page as the teacher, and knowing, like, when he comes home with a certain kind of homework, what they're trying to achieve, you know. So for me, I've seen that has been it's been a real learning experience for myself and my husband as well. And then it really is about connecting with the child. I found it amazing that you said 98% of the parents were there, because many of the comments that I hear from the school level at times is that parents aren't involved. So that kind of shows me that, you know, given the chance, there are people and there are parents who are willing to come to the school and be involved in their child's education. So that's a very positive thing. Thanks for sharing.
And
that.
plus, we were able to, I didn't change the teacher's workday, but I was able to let them flex it to accommodate parents. So if they didn't do conferences on Wednesday, some of the teams would stay till 6 o'clock at night on Tuesday or Thursday to accommodate parents. And so the teachers were able to schedule that. Empowering the teachers is huge. And they were able to schedule it to accommodate parents. You created a structure so every teacher has a manageable amount to coordinate. And then it is educating the parents. The biggest difficulty for our incoming 7th grade families is they're expecting a teacher conference. They want the teacher to talk and tell them everything. And so when they come and it's their child, it takes a little while for them to get that they're listening to the child demonstrate their learning. And like I said, even in your case with your son, kids do not pour out their hearts to their parents, especially boys, about what they're learning in school. It's like, how's school, how's everything? Oh, fine, you know, and that's how they leave it. But they don't really tell you, this is my work, and this is why it demonstrates quality learning, and this is how I've achieved the standard, and this is the standard, which is pretty powerful for kids. So it builds the student's sense of confidence. And also then it brings the parent along in terms of understanding what the kids are doing.
Absolutely. Principal Wong, you know, one of the things is it shows why, our discussion here shows why you were chosen as Principal of the Year in 2005 and recognized for all that you were able to do to collaborate, because that's what a leader is. A leader is able to bring people together, no matter what the differences may be, no matter if there's misunderstandings or, you know, things that they disagree upon. It's about how do you bring people together and look at a goal and see how, you know, and get the buy-in to reach that goal. And it's not an easy thing to do, and I don't think everyone is made up of what it takes to run a school. So in the case of, and I've heard from, you know, teachers from all over the state, when they feel that their school is not being run right, you know, or that they could have better leadership, what do you propose that they do? You know, because it just seems like many of the teachers go into their classrooms, close their door, and just wait for the day for things to change. You know, instead, and so I'm trying to figure out, like, okay, what do we have in place right now that would, as everybody, you know, the A word, the accountability word, if a teacher or a principal is unable to do the job that you're talking about, and, you know, I'm not sure if it's because there isn't enough support to try and get, you know, and build that principal, or whatever it might be, principal or teacher. I know for our Reform Act, Act 51, 2004, that there was principal contracts in there, you know, in 2004. But yet, you know, here we are 5 years later, and we're unable to really have anything like that. To say, what are the expectations of principals, and where should we go with that? So I'm kind of struggling with that, and just saying, where do we go next?
I think there's a lot of issues that need to be addressed. One is support for new principals and for principals. And so many times we structure adult learning in meetings and one-day shots. And we know this really doesn't work. It's just like teacher learning. There needs to be conversations, there needs to be dialogue about how we implement strategies. And I think that as we look at supporting principals, there needs to be a lot more learning for principals, because I don't think anybody's out there screwing up on purpose. I think that they just don't know how. And I think you know, I've always been an advocate for professional learning experiences, and often at my own expense going to conferences and principal leadership academies and stuff, because we get the feeling in Hawaii that we're never quite good enough. And so I needed to see how are people doing it all over the country or all over the world, and where can we learn from them, and then having the courage and the skills to change, because basically, as a principal, I'm an organizational change agent, and I need to really understand how to facilitate organizational change. And I think this is one area that we could do better in the DOE. I think businesses do it a lot better than we do. And I look to the business world when I was first trying to guide that process back in the 90s. But I know we've addressed a lot of these things, but I think there needs to be more mentoring, more support, and more accountability for using the resources that we have and all of that. And so there isn't an easy answer.